The Cowboys have won road games before against the Packers, but all of those came in Milwaukee. They have never won in Lambeau Field, 0-5. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horowitz, CBS Sports' Charley Casserly. Glad to be with you on the NFL previews presented by Comcast. And, Charlie, we know the Cowboys can score points. We know they're going to score points. Is this one of those games where the Packers are going to have to outscore the Cowboys?
Yeah, I think they are. I think the Dallas Cowboys have great skilled players that are very talented. Let's take a look at some of their statistics so far this year. Terrell Owens, off to a monster start, 3 touchdowns. Jason Witten, Pro Bowl, off to another Pro Bowl year. And Marion Barber, hey, he wanted to be the starter. He's the starter right now. Look at 4 touchdowns. And then you've got on top of that, Felix Jones, who comes off the bench. He can return kickoffs, which he showed last week against Philadelphia. These people are going to score points.
Well, which means that it falls in the hands of Aaron Rodgers, who last year against Dallas in that game in November on that Thursday nighter wasn't expected to play, came in, played very well. But now Dallas is preparing for Aaron Rodgers. He has looked great in his first 2 games. Is he going to look great against Dallas?
I think he will. I think Aaron Rodgers is for real. Here you see 70% completion, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's a good football player. The thing he can give you is movement. You can get him outside the pocket on a bootleg. You get him outside the pocket when he scrambles. That is the toughest thing for a pass rush to counter. You've got to keep this guy in the pocket. Now, last year, he came off the bench, played well. However, Dallas wasn't ready for him. They weren't ready for a running quarterback. They'll be ready this time.
Well, speaking of running, that's something that hasn't been very good yet for the Packers in terms of the fact that Ryan Grant, especially last week, he's battling that hamstring injury. He only had 20 yards on 15 carries. Does he have to have Ryan Grant there for him to be successful?
I think so. I think you got to have some balance. Dallas is a very aggressive football team. Let's look at the weapons that the Green Bay Packers have to work with here. Greg Jennings, obviously over 20 yards of reception there. Donald Driver, you don't see the yardage there, but, still a real solid player. And Ryan Grant, 1,000 yards last year, and as Jason pointed out, he's not 100%. They're trying to work him back into the lineup. He needs to have a bigger part in this game if the Green Bay Packers are going to be able to have balance on offense.
But does the Dallas defensive front 7 have the advantage over the Green Bay Packers offensive line?
I think they do. I think it's a very physical front 7. The key guy there is DeMarcus Ware. He's your home run hitter. End of the game last week against the Eagles, he makes a big play. At the end of this game, look for him to make another big play. He's having a Pro Bowl year. He's the guy that I think the Packers have got to account for. They've got to stop him. And I think he's a guy with the way they move him around, he's hard to stop.
And especially with the fact that they are going to have to score on a regular basis here because their defense is banged up. Charles Woodson, although he played against the Lions with the toe injury and had the interceptions, he's not 100%. So going up against Terrell Owens, whether it's Al Harris or Charles Woodson, that is going to certainly be a tough mismatch. All right, folks, let's take all the numbers, put them into the computer, 10,000 tests, 10,000 results. And how about that, Charlie? Both these teams are 2-0, but the way the fact that the Cowboys have looked offensively, I thought that the Cowboys would be favored by the computer because it's just by the numbers, but they like the Green Bay Packers. Who do you like?
Well, I think they're talking about this idea that Green Bay has not won in Lambeau Field. Well, you know what? This Packer team hasn't lost in Lambeau Field. Tony Romo hasn't lost in Lambeau Field. Tony Romo wins in Lambeau Field, a high-scoring contest. I think the Packers have too many weapons and have enough playmakers in their front 7 on defense to make the difference in this game.
So you like the Cowboys to win the game?
I like the Cowboys to win the game, yes.
All right, folks, we'll see how it all plays out. It is the Sunday Nighter, an 8:15 p.m. Eastern start. And for more on this one or any other in Week 3, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. For Charley Casserly, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care, folks.